Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about William Shakespeare as a dramatist, and this is my second video on Shakespeare as a dramatist. As we all know, the first folio edition of Shakespeare was published in 1623, and this was published by two friends. Their names are John Hemmings and Henry Cundell. I repeat, the names are John Hemmings and Henry Cundell. A total of 36 plays were published, and a preface was added to this first folio edition, and this preface was okay, so there was a preface, and this preface was a poem by Ben Jonson, rather. I repeat, there was a poem by Ben Jonson. It was added as a preface. And here, Shakespeare is considered to be a man not of an age, rather a man of all time. You cannot restrict Shakespeare to Elizabethan era. That is what they mean. Rather, Shakespeare is a man who is meant for longer time, say the immortality of art. The title for the work, Measure for Measure by William Shakespeare, it has been taken from the Bible, and the meaning of this title is this: when you try to judge somebody, you will be judged. So this could be one meaning, and the other meaning is what you do to someone, the same thing will get repeated in your life. So that is the meaning for the title, Measure for Measure. The characters: Angelo, who is the stand-in duke. When the duke leaves the kingdom, alright, he leaves it to, and what is the name of the place? I think it is Vienna. Vienna is the name of the kingdom. Vienna is led by a stand-in duke, Angelo, because the duke disguises as a friar, and he is inside the state itself, and he is monitoring his people, and he is also monitoring the stand-in duke, the makeshift duke, Angelo. So Isabella's brother Claudio, he has been betrothed to Juliet, and he involves in lovemaking even before their marriage, and this was considered as an offense. Though he was engaged to this girl, though he is going to marry this girl, since he is involved in lovemaking, he is sentenced to death. And it is Isabella who hears this news and who wants to take an attempt, and he pleads with Angelo. But what does Angelo do? Angelo, he asks Isabella to spend a night with him, and this woman is caught up between, say, chastity and her brother's life, and she gives importance to chastity. And later on, the duke, who is disguised as a friar, he gives an idea, and instead of Isabella, Mariana, the girl who is probably supposed to marry Angelo, who is sent, and Angelo makes love with say Mariana, and that is how the situation was managed. And finally, the duke comes in and he forgives Angelo. And what he does to others is done to Angelo, and Angelo commits the same mistake, in fact, committed by Claudio. And there is a poem by the 20th century critic and poet T.S. Eliot, and the title of the poem is Mariana. This is based on the work Measure for Measure, the character Mariana in this work. Bayos, he came up with the work Shakespeare and his predecessors, and in this work he uses the word problem play. For the first time, the word problem play is used, and this was used by Frederick Bayos. And the title of the work is Shakespeare and his predecessors. And based on The Tempest, John Fowles, he came up with the work The Mages. And this work is also influenced by another work by another writer, that is The Mages is also influenced by Henry James, The Turning of the Screw. I repeat. John Fowles, The Mages is influenced by two works. Number one, Shakespeare's Tempest, and number two is Henry James, The Turning of the Screw. The title of the work, that is Somerset Maugham's Of Cakes and Ale, has been taken from Twelfth Night, and the subtitle of Twelfth Night, as you all know, is What You Will. Of Cakes and Ale, it's a work by Somerset Maugham, and the title has been taken from William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. And to understand that translation helped Shakespeare a lot. And it was a period of Renaissance where three things were happening. What are they? One is translation, number two is printing press, and number three is the fall of Constantinople. How does this help the Renaissance to happen? What is Renaissance? Renaissance is equal to revival of learning. Renaissance is a period where the best works in literature were produced, and you have this theory of American Renaissance, this period of American Renaissance. And American Renaissance, it's a term coined by Matty Sent, and the period between 1850 to 1855 is called the American Renaissance. What happened in Elizabethan era during Renaissance, and what happened in American literature during the Renaissance, that is around 1850 to 1855. Some of the best works in literature were produced during this era. You had a phenomenal playwright like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe during the Elizabethan era, a great poet like Edmund Spenser, and you also had a critic like Philip Sidney. And during 1850 to 1855, you had works like Scarlet Letter, 1850 by Nathaniel Hawthorne, Moby Dick, 1851. The subtitle for Moby Dick, of course, is The Whale. The Moby Dick is a work by, I couldn't remember. Okay, so what happened during this era? Best literature were produced. For best literature to be produced, you need two things. Number one is great writers. Number two is great intelligent audience. How did great writers emerge? Through translation. They can just know one language, that is English, and great works from other languages were translated into English. So this helped great writers. And how do audience became intelligent? Because the scholars settled down in various parts of Europe after the fall of Constantinople, and England is part of Europe, and scholars also settled down in England, and this helped in Renaissance. This helped in the building of a learning spirit among the people. And apart from that, the establishment of the printing press, it meant that books were available at a very cheaper price. Before this, books were restricted only to the upper class, the aristocrats and the clergy. And Because of the establishment of the printing press, because of books available at a cheaper cost, more and more people started to have access to books and knowledge. Therefore, as a result of knowledgeable audience getting to say view the plays of great writers, you had a renaissance, that is some of the best works being produced. And how does translation help Shakespeare? Thomas North translated Plutarch's Lives into English. And based on Plutarch's Lives, William Shakespeare wrote his Roman plays. And Shakespeare's Shakespeare wrote his chronicle plays based on Hollinshed Chronicles. And some of the plays considered to be problem plays of William Shakespeare are Measure for Measure, Troilus and Cressida, and All is Well that Ends Well. So these are example for problem plays. See, problem play, another example I would give is Henry Gibson's A Doll's House. So it creates a healthy discussion among the audience. When Nora shuts the door, slams the door and walks out, this created a healthy discussion among the audience, and that is what a problem play does. It addresses a social issue. The quote ripeness is all appears in King Lear, and the quote readiness is all appears in Hamlet. All the world is a stage, and all men and women are merely players. A quote appears in As You Like It. From 1594, Shakespeare's plays were performed by a group of actors. They belonged to a company called Lord Chamberlain's Men. It was a leading playing company in London, which also included Shakespeare. From 1594, a group of actors, players, they alone performed the plays of Shakespeare, and they were called Lord Chamberlain's Men, and this included William Shakespeare as well. And a partnership of company members in 1599 built the Globe near the banks of the river Thames. And the name of this theatre is the Globe. And there was an indoor theatre, and the name of the indoor theatre is the Blackfriars. And in 1608, the same year when Thomas Thorpe published the Sonnets of William Shakespeare. Alright, the same year, this company, they took over the indoor theatre, the Blackfriars. And in 1997, very recently, the Globe was rebuilt, and it was rebuilt in the same place, almost near the same place, and it was called the Modern Globe, and people could go and witness the place just like how people witness plays during the age of Shakespeare. In 1611, Cymbeline was published, and the same year you have King James version of the Bible, and it was headed by a group of translators. It was done by a group of translators led by Lancelot Andrews. And now we look at some of the titles taken from William Shakespeare's work. The Isle is Full of Noises by Derek Walcott. The title has been taken from The Tempest. Full Fathom 5 By Sylvia Plath, the title again has been taken from The Tempest. Samuel Menash, Full Fathom 5. It's a work by Samuel Menash. The title has been taken from from The Tempest. And as you all know, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. The title has been taken from The Tempest. And who utters the word Brave New World? It is Miranda. And Miranda and Ferdinand. This love actually is called as love at first sight. And there is this famous line which comes in Othello: "Put out the light and put out the light." Here, "put out the light" actually refers to two things. Number one, the first "put out the light" is switching off the candle, and the second "put out the light" refers to say ending the life of Desdemona. And this is an example for a figure of speech called antenna classes. Novel covers Present Laughter. The title has been taken from Twelfth Night. Anthony Burgess, Beds in the East. The title has been taken from Antony and Cleopatra. And as you all know, Antony and Cleopatra was the inspiration for Dryden to write his work All for Love. Dryden, All for Love, based on Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra. Aldous Huxley's Time Must Have a Stop. The title has been taken from Henry IV, Part 1. Agatha Christie's work, There is a Tide. The title has been taken from Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. And Julius Caesar, one of his ears was deaf. Alright, that is why when the soothsayer says he's not able to hear. And in Canterbury Tales, you find I think the wife of Bath. She has a physical impairment, and what is that? A slight deafness. Nathaniel Hawthorne's Twice Told Tale. The title has been taken from Shakespeare's King John. The Moon is Down by John Steinbeck. The title has been taken from Macbeth. From Macbeth, Agatha Christie has taken the title for her work, By the Pricking of My Thumbs. And Huxley has taken the title for his work, Brief Candles, again from the work Macbeth. And The Sound and the Fury, again the title has been taken from Macbeth. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. T.S. Eliot's Hollow Men, the title has been taken from Julius Caesar. Robert Frost's work, Out, the title has been taken from Macbeth. So thank you so much.
Home button. Capture.